An amateur explorer trying to unravel an ancient mystery found trouble, if not his prize. Ron Wyatt and 4 colleagues ventured into eastern Turkey in search of Noah's Ark, but they were abducted by Kurdish rebels and held for 3 weeks. They were finally released, and Wyatt returned home to Dallas last week. Wyatt says he found the final resting place of the famed Ark, and he joins us today to tell us about his quest. Mr. Wyatt, welcome to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Donna.
Let's talk about when you were taken first. What happened?
Well, we had planned to go to a town down in southeast Turkey, and we had planned to get there before dark. I've been out there about 32 times, and you do not travel after dark. There's road repairs, and we ended up getting caught in this roadblock by these terrorists.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Kurdish rebels took you. Did they tell you why they took you, and you were taken for about 3 weeks?
Well, basically, they said nobody listened to them unless they had hostages. So that was their expressed reason for doing it.
And then why did they say they let you go?
Well, the news dropped off. They had these shortwave radios, and as long as they and we were in the news, they were quite happy to hang on to us. Once that quit, then I guess they knew that to release us would get them back in the news again.
Mm-hmm. How concerned were you for your life?
The terrain itself was, it's called the Black Hill by the Turkish military, and that's a very apt description. You could get killed or maimed very easily just walking through there, running through this area, which we were forced to do night after night.
Mm-hmm. And who found you? And I was reading in some notes that you kind of left a trail, didn't you?
Yes. I put some money in my pocket, and I dropped $495 at intervals along the way, and this did lead the military to this Black Hill area. And these Turkish police officers returned the money after we were out.
Let's go on to the Ark. What makes you think that this is Noah's Ark?
Well, we have the word of a photogrammetry expert that this large object is a boat. And also its location on a mountainside at 6,300 feet fits in with the fact that there's only enough water on the planet to increase the sea level to 7,000 feet above present sea level if ice caps and everything were melted down. Also, there's, shall we say, boxcar loads of timbers out there. Donna, I have one right here in front of me.
Okay, let's take a look, and let's talk about that to continue our chat here. Tell us what that is.
Well, this is a piece of deck board. We used a subsurface interface radar system to look down through the boat. We were not allowed to do an extensive excavation, which is first choice in archaeology once you feel you've identified something. But anyway, we found tremendous amounts of these timbers, and the Turkish authorities had their people dig this up and allowed me to bring it home to have it analyzed. And it is indeed petrified wood. In particular, it's Peki cypress. Okay,
so that's petrified wood. Now,
yes.
Now, how are you going to go about dating that, and what kind of analyzation are you going to use to see if that is the Ark?
Well, what archaeologists are required to supply in order to identify a site, Donna, is physical remains, and then if you're fortunate enough to have inscriptions, this is a real plus, and then of course a local tradition. And there's tremendous amounts of physical remains, and there are a great number of inscriptions, and of course this whole story of the Ark landing on Ararat. The location of this boat is 12 miles south of the big mountain. And of course, there's a long-time local tradition that the Ark landed in that area.
Mm-hmm. You know, well-known biblical story. Did you find some animal remains as they were supposed to be on there 2 by 2?
We did. There's a large amount of what's called corpullites by geologists and archaeologists. These are animal droppings that have fossilized. We also found a fossilized antler. Now, the possibility has been brought up that this might be a barn or some other type structure. Antlers are associated with non-domesticated animals. And of course, this tells us that at least one undomesticated animal was on this boat at some point in time. Mm-hmm. And the corporal lights that are on there. Of course, we can identify the animal by the shape and whatnot of the droppings. Now, we also found something, and I guess if I have a favorite object, it's this. This is a rivet, and it's quite a sophisticated riveting system. It's a washer about approximately 3.5 inches in diameter with a shaft that's a little over 1 inch in diameter, and it's been struck while it's hot, and this splays the end of the shaft out so it cannot slip back through this washer. Now, there are thousands of these on there. These are found in the radar scans.
We are back with Ronald Wyatt. He is an explorer who claims to have found Noah's Ark, and we are ready for your calls. San Georgia, you're on the air first.
Hi.
Hi, Georgia.
I was wondering, after such an incredible ordeal, are you going to make any plans to go back in the near future?
Yes, ma'am. We have promises from the Turkish government that they will issue us the permit that we wanted. The only thing that's happened is since we wasted 21 days out in the woods out there in eastern Turkey, we're going to have to postpone what we were going to do until next summer.
Okay, Connecticut, you're on the air.
Hi. About 4 or 5 years ago, there was a documentary done also on the finding of a piece of wood from Noah's Ark on Mount Ararat, and it was carbon dated and said to have been authentic. Is this, what you have found, an extension of that since it had been lost and never found again?
No, ma'am. This is totally different. The piece of wood you're referring to is a piece found by Ferdinand Navarra back in 1957. The place where he said it was carbon dating was checked with, and he had not had carbon dating. It appears from Turkish records in particular that in 1955 he and some people actually took this piece of wood up and put it in the ice crevasse. And the reason I say this on the air is we have affidavits to that effect. And so no, this is not. And an actual test done by the late Jim Irwin, the astronaut on Apollo 15, showed that particular piece of wood not to exceed 700 years in age.
This is CNN.
Deborah, thank you. And we are back with Ronald Wyatt. He is an Ark explorer. And Texas, you're on the air.
Hello. Mr. Wyatt, could you tell me something about the inscription?
Yes, there's quite a number and variety of inscriptions. Most of them are of the nature of petroglyphs. As you know, these are chiseled in stone. And we have inscriptions of 8 people leaving a boat that's, shall we say, on top of a wave and covered by a rainbow, or shall we say there's a rainbow over these. This is in several locations out there. We also have petroglyphs of some of the animals that were on the boat, specifically of a giraffe. I'm unaware that anybody has seen a giraffe in eastern Turkey in historical times. So these are some of the inscriptions I have, not with me, well, in the studio, but not up here. There's an inscription of 8 people in a boat, and as you may or may not be aware, the importance of the individual to the group is indicated by their size. And so we have a father person, a mother person, and 3 sons and 3 daughters or daughter-in-laws in this boat. And there's 2 ravens in this picture, one over a mountain some distance from the boat and one over the actual boat. And as you can appreciate, we can't give the exact locations of these because we have had people steal some of these inscriptions.
And weren't the ravens sent out after the 40 days and 40 nights to check and see if it was still raining?
That's approximately right, Donna. It was after 150 days.
Okay.
Not of storm, but after they'd been in the boat that long.
Okay, Georgia, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. I was just wondering how the size of the structure compared with the dimensions in the Bible.
Okay, Moses was educated in Egypt. We're told that in the New Testament and also in the Old Testament. And the Royal Egyptian cubit, which he was familiar with and we believe used in the giving the dimensions of the ark, is 20.6 inches, and 300 of those is exactly 515 feet, and that is the length dimension of the boat. The boat has splayed some. and this is to be expected in an aging boat. So the width is a little greater than that specified in the Bible, but you figure the degree of splaying and you come up with very close measurements, very similar to those in the Bible.
New York, hello.
Yes, I've been studying archaeology and ancient history for a long time, and Old Persian, and I'm Jewish, and I was educated in the Old Testament, and I think it's important for people to realize that archaeologists and geologists have been in the Middle East for well over 100 years using modern methods. Many of them are dedicated Christians and Jews, and all of whom believe in the Old Testament. And the reason why none of them think that Noah's Ark could be on Mount Ararat is because, from what we know of modern science, it would take Mount Ararat being, I don't know what, 13,000, 14,000 feet, it would take such a huge flood to place an ark there that the flood would leave signs all over, virtually all over the Middle East, and there are no signs whatsoever of such a huge flood. There are small local floods in, Sumer and Eridu and Kish and places like that, but virtually no signs, no geological signs of a flood.
Mr. Wyatt?
Okay, I appreciate your observation there, sir. Now, we will have to agree with you on the fact that this boat could not be on Ararat for many reasons. It's a post-flood volcano. There's glaciers with the associated glacier flow, and the Bible specifies that the ark landed in mountains, plural, of Urartu, and that was quite a large empire out there. And so it is not on Mount Ararat. It's 12 miles to the south on a place called Mount Masr, or Mountain of Pain, or something to that extent. Now, as to your worldwide evidences of a flood, I will disagree with you there, sir. There is evidence of worldwide flood because of marine fossils at the Cretaceous level. Everything, and that's a roughly average of 7,000 feet around the globe, and everything above that is obviously upthrusted material. And so when you say that these people all agree, I have to agree that the predominance of people in this type of research say this, but sadly they are quoting the textbooks that they studied in school, and they have not done field archaeology on this, or they would not say that.
Ark explorer Ronald Wyatt, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
The boat-shaped site was first found and photographed by a Turkish army captain back in 1959. It was quickly explored and dismissed as a freak of nature. But Wyatt, an amateur archaeologist, rekindled interest in it a few years ago. He brought in Dave Fasold, a marine salvage expert, to assess it. The Doomsday Mountain team brought in some high technology to explore the oldest legend of man. They began scanning their site with a molecular frequency generator. It's a device used by surgeons to pinpoint cancer tumors, and it's been used by Fasold to locate underwater treasure. This time, the molecular frequency generator began to pick up a unique pattern of iron lines beneath the earth.
Okay, bring that one up.
They began placing ribbons along those lines. The finished shape, outlined by the ribbons, was that of a huge ship, the approximate length and width of Noah's Ark, as described in the Bible. The fascinating field of ribbons soon attracted higher academic interest.
That looks like iron. Okay.
Dr. John Baumgartner, a physicist with Los Alamos Laboratories, sent samples back to the lab for analysis and confirmed that the metal they were tracing with the ribbons was indeed iron. With the width and the length known, the only remaining question was depth. By locating the depth of the hull, they could determine if the boat-shaped object had the cargo capacity described in the biblical ark. To resolve this final issue, Wyatt and Fasold brought geologist Tom Finner to Turkey with his company's heavy-duty subsurface radar equipment. Gear like this located the black box cockpit recorder on the floor of the frozen Potomac River after the Air Florida crash. It was here, several miles short of the boat-shaped site, that a waiting game began for Finner and the others. The party needed a final go-ahead from the Turkish government to complete their probe of Doomsday Mountain. The restrictions of martial law left the American explorers isolated from the outside world. Not even a telephone.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to hang in like smell on a skunk till there's nothing left to get this done.
There's the longitudinal bulkhead. You ought to see them popping out, Ron.
Yeah, there they are.
Here. There's
Yeah.
another one. There's the key line right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Ron, the lines are there! The lines are there.
Okay, we're gonna walk over,
Yeah.
take a look.
Leave it running so everybody knows that we're not cheating here, right?
You got it, Toby.
Okay. Now, this is the west bulkhead. Okay, can you look through there and...
All right.
This is the west bulkhead.
All right.
That was over there. And he walked easterly. Here we start getting the longitudinal bulkheads. Here, 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 here.
Okay.
Here. You see there how it shows up?
Right.
This data does not represent natural geology. It's a man-made structure. These reflections are occurring very periodic, too periodic to be random natural type interference.
And God blessed Noah and his sons, and he said to them, increase and multiply and fill the earth, and let the fear and dread of you be upon all the beasts of the earth, and upon all the fowls of the air, and all that move upon the earth. All the fish of the sea are delivered into your hand, and everything that moveth and liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herbs have I delivered them all to you. Whosoever shall shed man's blood, his blood shall be shed. For man was made to the image of God. But increase you and multiply, and go upon the earth and fill it. Thus also said God to Noah and to his sons with him. Behold, I will establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, with every living soul that is with you, as well in all birds, as in cattle and beasts of the earth that are come forth out of the ark, and in all the beasts of the earth. I will establish my covenant with you, and all flesh shall be no more destroyed with the waters of a flood, neither shall there be from henceforth a flood to waste the earth. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant which I give between me and you, and to every living soul that is with you, for perpetual generations. I will set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be the sign of a covenant between me and between the earth. And when I shall cover the sky with clouds, my bow shall appear in the clouds. And I will remember my covenant with you, and with every living soul that beareth flesh. And there shall no more be waters of a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the clouds, and I shall see it and shall remember the everlasting covenant that was made between God and every living soul of all flesh which is upon the earth. And God said to Noah, this shall be the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh upon the earth.